Hey, Hannah Mouse 1 here. Welcome back to my series in which I make a miniature version of the Firehouse 51 from the TV show Chicago Fire. In this episode, I aim to get the common room completed, and by the end of this video, I'll have added 5 new firefighters to my firehouse, so stick around for that. First, I'm making the walls of the firehouse interior. They have a lot of windows on the inside of the firehouse, which I make by putting a piece of clear plastic in between 2 pieces of thin cardboard. These interior walls are thinner than the exterior walls, but I think that's okay. I'm not sure how thick the walls actually are, and this firehouse is very much not to proportion, and that shines through a lot in the things I make in this episode. The furniture, the firefighters, are all slightly too large for the firehouse, but it's all slightly stylized anyway. It's not uber realistic, so I still think it comes out really cute, so yeah, I'm happy with that. I make the walls which partition the front of the common room from the corridor in much the same way I made the side walls, except these are thinner. And then I use little L shapes of paper to create a connection between these two to make little slightly larger L's, which will be the interior walls. I then start building up layers of cardboard, which I then cover in tissues, which will create cushions for the sofa. There's the base, the back, and the 2 arms of the couch, I guess you could call it. So yeah, I paint the walls muted down cream colour. Just go over that nice and liberally. These are super cheap paints, painfully cheap paints. Genuinely, it was a pack of 24 for £12. It was 50p per thing of paint, and they're pretty big, so it's very low quality. So yeah, here's me just adding the tissue to the aforementioned couch cushions. I do it to all of them because it just helps connect everything together and makes it look more like fabric. I use the same technique on Kelly's recliner in the app floor. I use a lot of techniques from that episode here. As you see, I'm attaching all the pieces together to actually make the couch shape. Everything fits together nicely, and it looks really cool. Like I said, it's slightly too big for the room, but that's okay. I just don't add some of the other furniture. I was going to add a little round table. You might even see it in some of the shots because I did actually end up making it, but when I was putting the pieces in, I realised there was just no point. It would make the room too crowded. And I didn't add in the coffee table or the little table that's on the side of the couch. I just left these things out because it is a stylized representation and I didn't want to overdo it. It was hard to find the balance, so I just chose the most important items to set the scene. I create the table and the TV that sits on it, and then I create the dining table, which I am going to have some characters sat around. I'm not going to add this many characters to every room in the firehouse, because I'd run out of characters, and also they're fiddly as hell to make. But for the common room, it was important to me that this area feel the most alive and lived in space, because it's the common room. It's where they hang out. It's where they just chat and have fun or watch TV. It's just a wind down space, and I wanted to convey that, and how better to do it than literally having some of the characters chatting and laughing and winding down in front of the TV. I used the exact same technique I used in the app floor video to make the chairs that go around the table. I just stick those on. I do trim these down slightly, but the technique is entirely the same. I stick down the walls that make them up the room. I think this is pretty cool. I'll admit, For the longest time, I thought this room was in the centre, like, it was in the centre part where, like, the inlet is. It isn't, it's to the side of that. I don't know why I thought it was there. I guess just because I thought it was more, like, central. But that side of the firehouse is larger, so it actually makes more sense for it to be on that side. So, I don't know, my brain works weirdly sometimes. I paint everything super simply, just one block colours, no details. These are too small for uber detailed paint jobs. I'm sure there are people out there who could make these look super realistic and cute and cool. I'm not a miniature painter per se. Like, I don't do like Warhammer or any of that stuff. So my talents are minimal with miniature painting. Honestly, painting in general. I like making stuff, but the painting's just kind of the arbitrary thing on the end. I paint the doors to which are going to go on the sides of this room, and I add some detail to the flooring. There are some like dark orange marks on the floor. I don't know why, but I guess they look kind of cool. Like, I don't know what the point of them is, or if they literally are just decorations, but For the firefighters, I'm going to be using paper mache. So it's just water, flour, and salt, and I just mix that in with some paper, smush it down into a nice clay texture, and then I start making the firefighters. Here on the couch, I think it's pretty obvious it's gonna be Mouch. I'll say, the level of detail on these characters is about 0. They're just too small, and everything you do smushes them, and like, it was just not easy to add any detail. So they're just gonna basically be generic guys and girl, because I will be adding a girl to the scene. Yeah, they're all gonna look pretty generic. As for the person standing behind Mouch, this is gonna be, or is intended to be, Herman. I don't think he's recognisable at all, apart from the fact that he's a guy with grey hair. This is going to be Violet, because at the table I am going to have the brew crew of Violet, Gallo, and Ritter. So I'm going to start with Vi. In the spirit of using whatever the hell I have lying around as a sculpting tool, because I don't have that many actual sculpting tools, I'm using a tiny little screw today. Yes, because that's definitely the most effective tool for sculpting tiny things. Basically anything sharp is good, but like the least dangerous is the better. Like, I wouldn't use like a knife. You could, it would work, but you'd have to be really, really careful. So it's probably not advisable. So next to Violet is Gallo, of Truck 81. I like his character. Bit of a daredevil, but he's a lot of fun. I attach the chairs to the table. One thing I will say about Gallo and Ritter as well, I feel like they get off really easy compared to previous candidates that we've seen. Like, I feel like Mills and Jimmy Borelli, like, I feel like Casey put them through the ringer when it came to drills and stuff, but I feel like I don't know about how Herman would train his candidates, but I feel like from when we see him schooling Dawson, he'd be pretty strict too. But like, he and Casey never drilled Gallo or Ritter in the same way. Like, yeah, Casey would get a bit harsh with Gallo when he went off the reservation, but he never like puts him through drills and stuff like as part of the course. Probably just doesn't make for great TV, but it just feels a bit weird. So I give these characters the world's most simple paint job. Because like I said, painting, I can do it, but it's not one of my favourite parts, and when we're working this small, I am not adding details. Like, I don't even give them faces. They are just skin-toned blobs with clothes. And I try and get their hair colours right, because that is actually something which makes them pretty recognisable at this size. So yeah, at least roughly right. And then I glue everything in place as best as I can. And voila, I think that's done. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode of my series. Stick around for the next one, and I will see you next week. Bye.